Hello and welcome to CSA's first half recap and look ahead for Major League Baseball. I'm Dave Ferry with Adam Spolane, David Schuster, and on your screen, Tom Merriam. And we're going to be talking about every division and take a look and prognosticate as best we can as to what's going to happen in the second half. And let's start with the American League West if we can. Adam, you've got a pretty interesting race, and I mean it's not beautiful, but you still have three teams who are still in it. I don't know about the A's and Angels, but otherwise it's pretty darn competitive.
Yeah, for the people who have kind of gotten into soccer here with the World Cup, the AL West is kind of like the CONCACAF of baseball, where it's just, three very average teams and then two just cellar dwellers right now. And that's kind of what the West has been, where you have the Rangers at 2 games over 500. They're in first place. The Mariners are a game under. The Astros are 4 games under. And then you've got the two teams at the bottom with the A's, who to me have been pretty disappointing. I kind of thought that they might be a team, especially when you look at what the three teams ahead of them have been able to do. I thought that could be a team that could hang around 500 and at least make things interesting, but they've really fallen off here in the last month or so. Their pitching just isn't very good. I don't think they have enough pitching at this point, and they aren't aiming to be very good right now. They are kind of waiting to get to Vegas before they really start to care. And then the Angels are the Angels, and it looks like they are finally making some changes. They fired the general manager, Perry Manassian. Um, they have a first year manager who's on a 1 year contract, and I don't know if he's long for that job. You thought maybe the Angels might move Mike Trout, and then he got hurt. So the Angels are just a bit of a mess at this point, which they have been really for the entire decade. So I guess it's really about the three teams at the top of the division. I thought Seattle going into the year was the best team. They were, what, 9 outs away from winning the American League pennant last year. And it kind of felt like they would build on that with the very good pitching from top to bottom. Their starters have been disappointing. I think Logan Gilbert has pitched really well, but Luis Castillo has not. Brian Wu has really struggled. So I think overall their starters have been a little underwhelming compared to what you expected. Yeah, I think there's an argument that they could have five all-stars in that starting rotation. That obviously did not happen. And then the bullpen has been a little shakier than you would have expected. And it starts with Andres Munoz, the great closer, who's got an ERA over 4. That's not something that you would have expected when the season started. And then offensively, the Cal Raleigh drop off has been massive. This guy was a couple of votes away from being the MVP, and now he's got an OPS under 600 this season. And he went on the IL for a stretch. Josh Naylor has really struggled for them this season after he played pretty well when he came over from the Diamondbacks at the deadline. Uh, so they've been disappointing. I still think they are probably the best team, but they've got some guys underperforming. Texas, I was looking at the numbers today. Um, Offensively, they've been better than I would have expected just because I saw them in a 3 game series against the Astros about a month ago, and they looked useless at the plate. They almost got no hit by Spencer Arrighetti. That's how bad it was that night, and really for that series. But and Corey Seager hasn't done a whole lot for them this season. The pitch, but offensively, they've been fine. The pitching has been a disappointment for them, where it's Jacob DeGrom has been fine, but not up to his usual standards. But guys like Nathan Eovaldi have disappointed. Um, they got the guy, the name escapes me, from the Nationals before the season, the starting pitcher, who actually I think he pitched today against the Astros. He's been a little bit disappointing, and the bullpen hasn't been great this season. And then there's the Astros, just kind of the team that's been around and kind of carried the division for such a long time. The Astros just aren't very good. And they've gotten an MVP caliber first half from Yordan Alvarez. As Joe Espada said last week, it's the best first half he has ever seen at the major league level. But after that, it's been a bunch of disappointment. Hunter Brown finished third in Cy Young voting. He's missed significant amount of time. And you look, they had 5 starters start the season on the major league roster. 4 of them have spent time on the IL. 3 of them multiple months on the IL, and then the one guy who hasn't been on the IL got optioned to AAA this week. So their pitching has been awful. Josh Hader missed the first 2 months of the season. They really only can rely on 3 relievers. One of those, Hader, is not able to go more than 1 inning in games this season. So it's not a great team right now. This division is wide open for somebody to take control of, and I just don't think any of these teams are good enough to do it.
That's where I thought the Astros appeared to be just lying in the weeds, and they got hot a couple of weeks ago, and I figured, okay, well, the show's over, folks. Nothing to see. The Astros are about to coast to this division title, but you're saying that's not the case.
They have to figure some stuff out. I just the pitching just isn't good enough. Like they had on Friday and Saturday against the Rangers, they had a starter go 6 innings, back-to-back games. It felt like a miracle. They just have not been able to get that done. And really, the savior for them this season has been Peter Lambert, a guy who was a second-round pick by the Rockies, was released by the Rockies. He was in Japan last year, and he really has been. I don't know where they would be from a starting rotation standpoint without him. Spencer Arrighetti was the pitcher of the month in the American League in May, and then he fell off a cliff in June. And he had one good start in July, and then his last start in Washington this week, that wasn't very good. They spent a bunch of money to get Tetsuya Imai from Japan. He'll have one good start and then he'll follow it up with three really bad starts where he struggles to get out of the third inning. So it's been a wildly consistent team. It's a poorly constructed team, and it's a team that is basically being carried by an incredible MVP like first half from Yordan Alvarez. And if you want to know why Yordan Alvarez should probably be the MVP of the league, it's because this team and this roster is 4 games under 500 because of him.
Yeah, yeah. It reminds me a little of Keith Hernandez in 1979, where everybody's complaining how he got a share of the MVP, playing for a pitiful team, but Keith put up the best numbers. Let me ask you, give me your top three order of finish, assuming that the A's and Angels are dead in the water right now.
I would probably go Seattle 1, Texas 2, Houston 3. I
Uh,
just and I say that just because of the Seattle pitching. And I think that ultimately that is what carries them through. They've also been a very aggressive team at the deadline the last couple of years. So I imagine that they can be aggressive once again. And then also their best, the guy who finished second in MVP voting has been awful. I don't think he'll finish the season with an OPS below 600. I imagine he gets hot at some point and at least gives that offense a little something. Texas will see the Astros. I just don't see it.